The really unfortunate part about that, right, is when you think about that responsibility, right? Rights and responsibility are a very intimate relationship. They have to be. Like you have to, as a citizen, exercise both responsibly. What do you do when somebody abdicates their responsibility, right? Without giving it to government. When somebody abdicates on their responsibility, the government doesn't vote for them, right? They have to vote in this particular situation. They have to vote because they have the right to vote. They're citizens. They can't abdicate that away.
Right.
But their responsibility to be
themselves.
informed before they vote is, I would say, generally, it's an opt-in situation. You don't start off by being
Informing
yourself because you're not getting, unless you're getting it from your parents, maybe.
Right.
Like there are some people that might do that, but you're not going to get that from the school. You might. Some,
Not nowadays.
Some might. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like.
They'll teach you that Wikipedia is not a legitimate source, but,
when Wikipedia is on their side, which is hilarious.
Right, but they're also not going to tell you that the New York Times and the Washington Post are biased newspapers, and that's also not a completely reputable source.
They'll probably be pointing you to them.
Depending on what they're pointing on, they may or may not be giving you accurate information. They're not going to say that to you.
No.
They're not going to tell you that someone like Tim Pool is likely to give you superior information than someone like the New York Times, even if he's going to use the New York Times to inform that opinion.
Yep.
They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to advocate for you to seek out people that the federal government is going to classify as domestic violent extremists. If you're anti-authoritarian or anti-government, you're now a domestic violent extremist. So they're definitely not going to push you towards somebody like us who's showing the Washington state laws on here and saying we fucked up, but this is actually what the law says, and this still exists, right? All it takes is
it's actually kind of worse.
All it takes is a vote of 11 people or whatever is on the board to decide that it's now covering this disease, right? Yep. They can change a very specific language from HIV and AIDS to bloodborne pathogens, right?
And that just encompassed how many more diseases?
May or may not be a good thing, right? It's good because the stigma that existed apparently around HIV and AIDS is no longer written into our legislation, but now any bloodborne pathogen is now filed under this statute. So is that a good thing?
Is hepatitis a bloodborne pathogen?
I don't know.
I think, right?
I don't know.
God,
I'm not a doctor.
Right? We can't say it.
Here, I'm going to look up a list of bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah, there you go. Let's do that, because in the meantime, I kind of want to ask you a question. Because when it comes to people advocating their responsibilities to be informed, right? Is there no recourse for abdicating your responsibility as a citizen? Because when you think about other rights that have responsibilities, particular like 2A. 2A is a big one.
Right.
Because if you screw that up, you're going to remember it forever. It's going to be a thing that sticks, whether it's you had to fight somebody, whether you accidentally killed somebody or something, whatever you did while exercising your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, right? That's the responsibilities of that. Consequences are very dire, one way or the other.
Yes.
Good or bad. Voting, only in retrospect. Like, if you vote in something because you're a fucking idiot and you end up voting in
1639?
The totalitarian dictatorship that kills you ultimately.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? There is one particular consequence, and that's just how it turns out.
Yeah.
So you could be
be kind of bad, or it could be fucking super bad.
And so you can spend 20 years abdicating your right, fomenting your own demise. And there's no... And
when it's done, there's no recourse.
And a bunch of people, like, say, you or I, could be sitting around and be like, you guys are killing yourselves. What are you doing? Stop doing this. This is bad, and this is why. But then, ultimately, if it comes down to it, like, what do you do about that other than try to persuade them otherwise? There's no way to reinforce someone's responsibility towards a right.
Especially when you're talking about the expansion of power of an administration or administrative body, you know,
Because it just makes that recourse more severe.
well,
It gives them more options.
You're also very unlikely to get that power back once you've ceded it to that administrative body. You know, even if you do have recourse, you're exceedingly unlikely to have that carried out.
Yeah.
Because the power is already gone. You know, the justification is there, and so they're able to argue, well, what if we need it? What if it happens again? You know, what if, though?
What if?
We already saw that it happened once, so what if it happens again? And then what?
Yeah.
You know? So
That's the fucking Patriot Act right there in a nutshell. What
if it happens again? And now it's happening for parents. We need it. We needed it then when it was, you know, the Arabs and it was the Iraqis and the Afghanistanis, even though it was, you know, actually the Arab Emirates, but you know, when it was all the whatevers. You know, the Arabs and shit, they were doing it. We needed it then. We need it now.
Yeah.
We need it then and we need it now.
Because now we have domestic
they're
terrorists.
domestic violent extremists.
They're Trumpists.
First,
Isn't it funny that you have
Islamic
to be...
extremists? Now we have the domestic violent extremists.
Yeah.
All the extremists.
All the extremists.
Need it.
Senator Cotton.
It's funny because
I
it's
don't
like
know.
a bunch of like Northerners that are doing it, but
Right.
they're still making Southern voices for stupid people.
Hey, man, if Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton can do it when they go to the South, why can't you?
Bloodborne pathogens, including but not limited to HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C.
Oh, look at that. Hep. So people that have hepatitis, like, didn't, what's her name? Baywatch gal.
Pam Anderson?
Pam Anderson. Didn't she get
have no
hepatitis
idea.
from that one dude?
Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy
Or
Lee
Tommy
Jones.
Lee? Not Tommy Lee
Jones.
Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Can you imagine?
That's so awesome.
Tommy
Can you
Lee
imagine
Jones
Tommy Lee
and
fucking
Pamela
Pam Anderson?
Anderson.
That's so awesome.
Honestly, I can kind of see Tom Jones being like,
awesome.
word,
It's like, yeah, I'll do
I'm
it.
there. Not only did I fight for the 13th Amendment in Lincoln, but I also slammed Pam Anderson.
That's awesome.
Fucking Agent K, dude, at it. Right there. How many more Tommy Lee Jones movies do we
Oh,
know?
my God.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat everything.